joining us on the panel. Thank you for joining us, Sierra. I know you got some stuff you want to talk about. Just run it down for us and let us know how you feeling.
Absolutely. First, just speaking on, the amount of homicides for one. Last year was crazy. We know that. But this year, it's wicked. And you don't know how to go about just life nowadays. I'm raising two Black sons right now. They're young. But to protect them from first of all, the influence, and to protect them in a way that they have to carry themselves a certain type of way so they're not a statistic and a victim in a case like this. But to know Donovan and to know his backstory and how he came up and his obstacles in life and things like that, and for this to happen to him in the way that it did, and to watch this video and see how he was handled and disrespected, it's saddening because his family. Go ahead.
Are you familiar? So, are you familiar with the case? You're obviously familiar with Casey because of your story and everything, right? And you know, how good of a kid he was. So, is this a similar kind of situation? Like, he was generally a good, even if he wasn't a good kid, doesn't matter. But did he, was this? He never was involved in any kind of, you know what I mean, like.
Oh, he was in trouble. It was, and like I say, that it's the influence, it's the world, it's what our sons is being exposed to. No, they don't know themselves. They don't know how to find themselves. They're trying to figure out who they are, what they want to be. So they're being pulled in so many different directions on how to make decisions, and thinking certain things are cool and not understanding the consequences of these. Yes, it's okay to fly and have guns. That's what the news tells us, but they don't tell us what not to do. You can't, things like that. So it's just, I knew him. I knew where he came from and who he was trying to become. And when you're trying to get out of what has already, been established in your life, picking apart his warrants and things like that to justify this shooting is absolutely ridiculous. I just happened to come across this live in the middle of the night, thinking, and I had to hop on to see what was going on. I had not seen the extent of this body cam footage as far as them carrying him out the house and things like that. So it's just heartbreaking to see how they're handling this young boy and trying to justify it with him being a bad person. No, he was not. Right.
That's a common.
Reading my mind, family soup.
Yeah, and if that's the case, what is the law for? Why build new jails if you're not going to put anybody in them? You're just going to kill them. There has to be some type of rehabilitation for these kids, not death, not death. Yes, Columbus. Yeah, Columbus, Ohio. I'm in the city. Donovan is actually my younger brother's a really good friend, and Donovan has worked for me. I own a business. He has worked for me. It's just really heartbreaking knowing him, and this happening to him. It's very sad.
My heart goes out to you here and anyone else that has known or has been affected or has come in touch with Donovan. A lot of people tend to think that, a lot of people don't care until they're actually directly affected or someone they know. Do you know what I mean? But I hope that people are heeding your words specifically. Do you know what I mean? Because you knew this young man. You knew this young man. Is there anything that you want the viewers watching to know when it comes to situations like this and how you may feel about this situation?
I just feel like it's everybody has to be careful now. they're so quick to shoot that it's just to like surrender. It's just our kids need more support. Our young men, our young women, whoever it is needs more support. There should have been somebody in this young man's corner to say, "Hey, you got these warrants. You need to go handle this. You need to go turn your stuff in. You need to, if this is what you want to, everybody's thinking it, but nobody's telling these kids, giving them any type of guidance on what they should do. Other than because things like this happen in the middle of the night, out of your sleep, so there has to be better teaching, there has to be better guidance for these kids because it's getting out of hand, it's getting out of control, and we are losing our babies, due to the world influence, and there's babies losing their parents due to the world influence and police, that are supposed to protect and serve, they're being lost by the people who are supposed to protect us. So the math ain't math and everything is backwards and everybody just needs to be careful, and make better decisions. Yeah. He was a good kid. As far as what I know, he was trying to come out of the situation that he was in. He was in a foster care system. As a teenager coming out of school and things like that. So he was bouncing around all over the place. It was even a point in time my mom wanted to take him in because she's just, that person. But he didn't. I don't want to really, touch too much on his personal, but he worked for me for a minute. And there was a night that we drove around the city, me and my fiance, for about 3 hours, just trying to find him somewhere to stay. As far as like a hotel room, things like that. He had a point in time where he was homeless. So he was moving around. He was mistreated a lot where he was. And he kind of had to adjust to that. When you don't get the nurturing and love that you need at home and from the people that's supposed to care from you, you're going to look for that in your surroundings, in the streets and things like that. And you may not fall into the right crowd. You may not end up around the right group of people, the right influence. And I just feel like this is one of those cases. You never want to point the finger and blame. The police was absolutely wrong. But again, he's one of those kids who, had he had a better support system, better nurturing, this may not been happened to him. And more kids need that, especially in our community, under poverty level, things like that, because we are being mistreated. And it's scary for a lot of parents. His mom had to call in to ask the police station, was this my son that this happened to? Was this my son? But he doesn't live with his mom. His sister, he has a sister that lives out of state, things like that. So again, I don't know. I don't know how to go into too much without saying too much, but he didn't deserve this at the end of the day, regardless of what he was into, what his troubles were, what his wants were. He did not deserve this. He was one of those kids that if you knew him and you knew his heart, you knew that he did not deserve this, period. And I thank you guys for adding me onto this live and allowing me to shed light on this situation and get some insight. Because a lot of times from the outside looking in, when people don't know these victims and these people, it's so easy to justify things from the outside looking in because they may be a menace to society or whatever Black and White says. But so I appreciate you guys for allowing me to speak on his life.